Tonight, horror, shock and panic for dozens of families. A Point Cook childcare worker employed at 20 centres charged with more than 70 sexual offences, including child rape. A major police operation underway as more than 1,200 children undergo urgent testing for infectious diseases.
Maybe it will haunt me forever. That did something happen to my child by that time? And if so, what happened? That is, I don't know. I hope I find out this answer. I'm so mad. That's why I picked him up.
The safety of our kids when we place them in the care of professional centres has to be of paramount importance.
The world watches and waits as the jury in Erin Patterson's mushroom murder trial deliberates for its first full day. We're live to Morwell with the latest developments. The victim of a savage and near-fatal dog attack at Winchelsea in court as the owners of the two Staffordshire Terriers learn their fate. Celebrating two trailblazing fashion designers as the NGV reveals its summer blockbuster exhibition. And another injury blow for Collingwood star Jordan De Goey as he suffers a concussion at training.
This is 10 News Melbourne with Jennifer Keyte.
Good evening. First tonight, the Victorian childcare sector has been rocked by allegations of widespread abuse, possibly at as many as 20 centres across Melbourne. One man is at the centre of the controversy, and police estimate up to 2,400 children may have been exposed to his alleged depravity. The case will prompt changes to the way childcare workers are accredited. But for now, the focus is on finding and protecting victims. And a warning, viewers may find details in this report confronting.
A Point Cook Early Learning Centre, the scene of dozens of suspected cases of child sexual abuse, allegedly at the hands of one of its workers.
Any case of child abuse is abhorrent.
The accused, 26-year-old Joshua Brown from Point Cook, 24 at the time of his alleged offending against 8 children, aged between 5 months and 2 years old. Victims of alleged heinous crimes between April 2022 and January 2023. They include the sexual penetration of a child, performing a sexual act in front of a child, producing child abuse material and recklessly contaminating goods. He's faced court already and is scheduled to reappear in September. The seriousness and manner of the contamination offence triggering a state health response, in which 1,200 children will need to be tested for infectious diseases.
The infections that the children were potentially exposed to can be treated with antibiotics.
2,600 families have been notified of a potential risk. Authorities say that risk is low. Testing could take weeks but will be prioritised.
We really do want to offer families that reassurance.
Sexual crime squad detectives arrested the accused child rapist on May 12 after they became aware of child abuse material allegedly in his possession. Families of the 8 victims were made aware of the alleged crimes against their children last week after an extensive 6-week-long investigation.
It wasn't through someone's complaint. We didn't have a victim for quite some time.
He was not known to detectives and authorities say he had a valid and active working with children check. Joshua Brown worked at 20 childcare centres across Melbourne's southwest, northwest and northern suburbs between 2017 and 2025. Each stint was a varied amount of time from a single shift to 3 years at one centre. Police lifted a suppression order protecting his identity early this morning.
It's very important to ensure that every parent out there that has a child in childcare knows who he is and where he worked.
Today, detectives examined allegations of offending at a second childcare centre in Essendon.
We're not suggesting that the accused has offended against children in all these childcare centres, but we're encouraging anyone with any further information to contact Crime Stoppers.
The Premier choked back tears, saying she felt sick to her stomach over the allegations. She reiterated this is not a reflection of the broader early childhood sector or of staff working within the industry. But Jacinta Allen acknowledged a rapid review is underway into working with children checks, which could lead to a raft of changes.
If there is further strengthening and actions we can do on top of the actions that have already been taken, we will take that further action.
As the Victorian community tries to come to terms with alarming allegations.
My heart just breaks for the families who are living every parent's worst nightmare.
Jessica Maggio, 10 News.
As authorities scramble to establish if there might be more victims, families are torturing themselves, wondering if it might be them. Parents whose children were too young to talk when they were being cared for by Josh Brown are now pleading for more information.
Sanctuaries stained with uncertainty. 2,600 families told their children could have been under Josh Brown's care. Some of them know for sure.
I always say like, hi Josh. I called him Josh. Hi Josh. And then he was like, smile at you, come Tyler, come to me. But then, then after that, what happened? What happened to my child?
A lifetime of questions could lie ahead and may never be answered.
It will haunt me forever as a parent because that question, the time that he was here, did he do something to my son?
They're allegations which have rocked other childcare workers as well.
The size of the incident and how many children are actually involved. So it's actually really scary.
Many parents tried calling the hotline today and couldn't get through.
It's just distressing. It really makes me think about what to do with my son's care now.
Parents of children enrolled at Point Cook at the time of the allegations were notified by an email from the Department of Health. But other families only found out when told by the media.
It's scary, actually. It's concerning.
If families aren't satisfied enough has been done to ensure the safety of their child, legal action is among the options.
If the childcare centres in this particular case are found to be negligent, the families will have a strong case.
No one has suggested negligence has played a role, but tonight parents across Melbourne and beyond are asking how this could happen.
Maybe it will haunt me forever. That did something happen to my child?
Rory Campbell, 10 News.
And Jessica Maggio joins us live. Jess, are working with children checks adequate?
Well, naturally, Jen, there are serious concerns from parents and childcare workers about whether these compliance checks are robust enough. Now, we heard from the Premier this morning saying that she would do whatever it takes to strengthen the reforms needed to make any changes for these working with children checks. She was also joined by the Minister for the Minister for Children, who said childcare is regulated by the federal government and new child safety measures will come into effect from September 1. That were voted on by states and territories just last month. That includes how allegations are reported and monitored, as well as cameras in centres. Lizzie Blanthorne says the Commonwealth, however, is moving too slow. She said she'd like to see tougher measures introduced at a much faster pace and is considering Victoria go it alone to introduce its own reforms to make sure there are serious measures in place for these compliance checks. Jen?
OK, thank you, Jess. 12 jurors have finished their first full day of deliberations in Erin Patterson's triple murder trial. More than 50 witnesses gave evidence in a marathon hearing which stretched across 2 months. Abby Dinham joins us live now from Morwell. Abby, what will the process be when the jury reaches a unanimous verdict?
Jen, once the jurors reach a unanimous decision on each of the charges, they'll notify the court and Erin Patterson will be brought in as the verdict is handed down. Now, that hasn't happened today, so deliberations will continue tomorrow. Justice Christopher Beale told the jurors before they retired yesterday that it's not up to the defence to prove that Erin Patterson is innocent. Rather, the onus is on the prosecution to prove that she's guilty beyond reasonable doubt. 10 News senior reporter Samantha Butler has covered this case since the beginning. Sam, what are some of the elements that need to be proven?
Well, there are 4 key elements of murder that the jury has to consider, and 2 will be crucial in this case. Whether or not Erin Patterson deliberately caused the deaths of her relatives and whether or not she intended to kill them. Both of those elements have to be proven beyond reasonable doubt in order for the jury to find her guilty of murder. We know that she has denied deliberately poisoning her lunch guests, and she insists that their deaths were a tragic accident.
And what happens if the jury can't reach a unanimous decision?
Well, the jury will be given as much time as possible to try to reach unanimous verdicts on each of the 4 charges that Erin Patterson is facing. But if it becomes apparent that they can't agree, it could mean a hung jury and all 12 jurors would be discharged. In that case, it's up to the prosecution to decide whether to drop all of the charges or whether to push on and pursue a retrial with a whole new jury.
Jen, we'll be back tomorrow as deliberations continue.
OK, thank you, Abby and Sam. A woman who was out for a run in the southwest Victorian town of Winchelsea when she was viciously attacked by two dogs has told a court of her battle to survive. Today, a magistrate decided the fate of the animals, while only one of their owners bothered to turn up.
More than a year after she was almost mauled to death, Susan Shaw finally received some closure. In May last year, the 55-year-old went for a run in Winchelsea when two unregistered dogs attacked her. Miss Shaw suffered life-threatening injuries. She was taken to Geelong Hospital and placed in a coma. She spent 6 weeks there and underwent 9 surgeries. While sentencing the dog owners this afternoon, the magistrate told the court Miss Shaw has been left with serious permanent life-altering injuries, some of the worst I've ever seen. The dog owners are Fofinda Shergill and his son Dion. Dion appeared via video link in the Geelong Magistrates Court, while his father failed to show. The court heard of the multiple injuries Miss Shaw suffered, including how she's been diagnosed with PTSD and she continues to suffer. Fofinda and Dion Shergill were ordered to pay more than $20,000 to cover pound fees where the dogs were held since the attack. The magistrate ordered the dogs be euthanised and banned the Shergills from owning another dog for the next decade. This horrendous attack can never happen again, and the only way to ensure it doesn't is for the dogs to be destroyed. Jack Perry for 10 News First.
The Prime Minister is talking up the prospect of securing a meeting with US President Donald Trump in the second half of this year. He faced intense questioning today over the date of a face-to-face, despite his attempts to focus on domestic issues.
A breakfast TV blitz to talk up his July 1 boost to household budgets.
Well, the combination of measures which start today will make an enormous difference to so many of your listeners.
Despite the charm offensive, another man has stolen the spotlight.
When are you going to meet the Donald? You've had plenty of time. When do you expect to sit down with Donald Trump?
We'll see each other a lot in the last months of the year.
Confident of securing multiple meetings with the US president, even though an initial face-to-face is yet to be confirmed.
This has been taking too long. The Prime Minister needs to establish a meeting with the President.
Especially as the clock ticks down on President Trump's reciprocal trade tariffs, which take effect next week.
Dear Mr. Japan, here's the story. You're going to pay a 25% tariff on your cars.
Foreign Affairs Minister Penny Wong has arrived in Washington, D.C. to meet her US counterpart, adding to diplomatic efforts on the ground alongside Ambassador Kevin Rudd. He's recently sung President Trump's praises.
He has always said that he does not accept the proposition that any US ally should be freeloading.
The task for Minister Wong is to convince the United States Australia isn't freeloading on defence and that it's investing enough to deter and respond to aggression in our region.
Australia always pulls our weight.
It is clear that Australia is underspending on defence.
Lucy Gray, 10 News.
A stable hand has been killed after being kicked by a horse at Cranbourne Racecourse this morning. Emergency crews were called to the training centre just after 7:30 to find the female unconscious with head injuries. Paramedics worked on the woman, but she died at the scene. Victoria Police and WorkSafe are investigating the circumstances of the incident. Well, now here's Stephen previewing sport and a Tigers star before the tribunal.
Yes, he is, Jen. Tom Lynch is facing a hefty suspension after his moment of madness against the Crows. We're live for the latest. The bad luck continues for Magpie Jordan De Goey, while a Hawk set for a long stint on the sidelines. A new deal looms for the Bulldogs' 250 man, Tom Liberatore. An Eagles premiership hero calls it quits. And Wimbledon off and running, but it was a bad day for the Aussies.
Thank you, Stephen. Coming up in 10 News. A mother's warning after her clothes caught on fire while making a cup of tea. Why one of our major emergency departments is experiencing a jump in winter burns. A Disney dream cruise turns into a nightmare. The dramatic rescue after a dad jumped into the ocean to save his daughter.
A flood watch is in place for parts of East Gippsland tonight. I'll have the latest on the warnings and Melbourne's weather after the break.
Do I answer or do you?
Bring it on, let's talk.
Well, it was our...
First home.
The whole process.
everything was a bit daunting.
We were just looking for
Someone that could guide us through it all.
Our Aussie broker helped us get on the property ladder.
And heaps sooner than we thought. The app helped too. Know what your home is worth.
Or find your dream match, swipe right.
Not that app.
Working with our Aussie broker cost us
Zero. I've only got
One bit of advice, chat to Aussie.
They went the extra mile for us.
Book a chat with an Aussie broker today.
There's a moment when a young girl turns into a woman. It's complicated and not just pretty.
Our goal was to be a good wife and mother.
What more is there?
I'm not sure you understand. Some people want more.
Do I sense rebellion in our midst?
Let me be my own person.
This is how it starts. I'm building their future. Nothing can go wrong. Not now.
The Gilded Age. New season. Now streaming on Paramount+.
This ring belonged to your father, Maximus. I see him in you.
Prepare to be entertained. Gladiator and Gladiator 2 are now streaming on Paramount+.
Are you not entertained? What we doing live?
Echoes in eternity.
Gladiator and Gladiator 2 now streaming on Paramount+.
Kim Kardashian was robbed at gunpoint.
Uncover the shocking details of what really happened that night.
The first time that this glamorous life turned around and bit her.
8:30 Thursday on 10 or stream it right now.
If this is the before...
This is very beautiful. It certainly is. Look at these ceilings. Look at that. Bathroom's beautiful.
Just wait till you see the after.
Come on.
Love it or list it. Saturday on 10.
Watch and stream free.
Things go wrong, like when you've been injured in a road accident, you know what to do.
Get Carbone on the phone.
Get Carbone on the phone.
Get Carbone on the phone.
We don't settle for less, neither should you.
G'day, it's James Padley in the Carbone Lawyers traffic chopper and the Westgate Freeway. Slow going outbound this Arvo from Williamstown Road all the way back over the bridge into the Domain Tunnel. That's partially due to regular peak hour traffic, but also an earlier crash near the Bolte Bridge that had one lane out of action. It's a cruisy run inbound though, and the Tulla Freeway not too far away, also looking good in both directions. I'm James Padley in the Carbone Lawyers traffic chopper. Back again shortly with another update.
Welcome back. A Melbourne mother is urging those trying to keep warm inside this winter to be vigilant around hot water and flames. Jen Vuk was making a cuppa when she leant over the stove and suffered significant burns. It comes as the Alfred reports a 20% jump in burns admissions.
It was a regular Monday at home for Jen Vuk. She went to make a cuppa, but before she knew it, she was on fire.
I lit the stovetop, I turned, and as I turned, I was wearing a flowing top, and the top at the end caught the flame.
She estimates she was on fire for a minute, but it felt like a lifetime.
I was seeing the world through a curtain of orange and red, and I was thinking, in all honesty, I was thinking, this is it.
She sustained mid-deep dermal burns to her neck, chest, right arm and back, superficial burns to her face and significant hair damage, spending 2 weeks in hospital.
I still do wear the compression vest, which I need to wear 23 hours a day. I have two. Initially, I can't be in the sun.
Her life changed in an instant. This year, there's been a 20% spike in burns admissions to the Alfred.
We had about 56% of our burn injuries were caused in the home, and these are being sustained while people are just performing simple, everyday tasks, often related around cooking accidents, scalds from hot water bottles, and falls in the shower, or contact burns from heaters.
Jen and the team at the Alfred urging all to be safe this winter.
Please be vigilant and be aware.
Sam Mills, 10 News.
A Disney dream cruise has turned into a nightmare for one family after a little girl fell from the ship. Her dad jumped into the ocean after his young daughter, and by some miracle, they both survived.
It was certainly no fairy tale holiday. But it still found its happy ending. This dad and daughter duo plucked from the sea after a terrifying fall. The Disney dream was returning to Florida after a 4-day voyage to the Bahamas when the alarm was sounded.
They come on the loudspeaker and said MOB on the port side, MOB.
Meaning man overboard.
It's crazy how quickly the people became little tiny dots in the sea and then you lost sight of them.
Witnesses say the little girl tumbled off the 4th deck near one of these portholes. Some believe she was sitting on the railing for a photo when she fell. Dad diving in after her.
He is a hero.
But as Cinderella's fairy godmother says, even miracles take a little time. The pair had to tread water for about 20 minutes before help arrived. From Disney, we commend our crew members for their exceptional skills and prompt actions, which ensured the safe return of both guests to the ship within minutes.
Everyone was like cheering on the ship, and just the amazing quick response of Disney made a big difference.
A storybook rescue and 2 lucky passengers who lived to tell the tale. Tallulah Thompson, 10 News.
Well, time now for a look at the weather with Jade Keyte. Jade, it was a damp start in Melbourne.
Jen, the showers have mostly cleared for now, but it certainly was a soggy start across Melbourne. Overnight, we saw anywhere between 2 and 10 millimetres across the outer suburbs, mostly clearing off by 9 a.m, although we still have seen a few drips and drops here and there, clearing from Mount Dandenong after lunchtime. As for the temperature, it is cool out here tonight. We hit a high of 14 degrees. Our overnight low was reached just after midnight. Right now it's about 12 degrees outside, but it only feels like 9 degrees. As far as the weather goes, we do have a flood watch in place for parts of Gippsland tonight and tomorrow, and that's as not 1 but 2 coastal lows direct showers into the coast, and that has sparked widespread warnings, not just in East Gippsland but also up across the New South Wales coast. Jen, I'm not crying, my eyes are just watering because of just how icy the air is out here. I will be back closer to 6 with a 7-day forecast.
That's good to hear. I'm glad you clarified. Thank you, Jade. And ahead in 10 News, feeling the heat, record temperatures serve up the hottest start to Wimbledon as the European summer sizzle rages. And a volcano in Hawaii putting on a show as it erupts, spewing lava into the air.
Top price luxury or a cheap renovator?
I'm sorry.
It's full worth it.
Someone will need to compromise.
Probably going to be me.
It will definitely be you.
House Hunters, 7:30 Friday on 10.
Watch and stream free.
Welcome back. You're watching 10 News Melbourne. Large parts of Europe are bracing for another day of extreme weather as a heat dome hovers over several countries. Even London is sweltering, with Wimbledon recording its hottest opening day on record.
Even the baking, burning sun didn't deter tennis fans, desperate to get tickets to Wimbledon, queuing for hours in scorching conditions.
It's about 20 degrees warmer than I'm used to, and I'm sunburnt all over.
On centre court, play was paused after a spectator became sick, Carlos Alcaraz offering to help, as temperatures reached 32 degrees, the hottest opening day on record.
It's been pretty warm. Feels just like home, honestly. It's been really lovely. Bit of a taste of Sydney again, to be honest.
While Britain is sweating through its second heatwave in a month, across Europe it's even worse. Temperatures in Spain push past 40 degrees and it could get even hotter. Health warnings are in place in Italy, France and Portugal, with fans flying off the shelves in countries where air conditioning is rare. In Turkey, 50,000 people have been evacuated from their homes as wildfires spread. The extreme conditions are being caused by a so-called heat dome.
The temperatures keep rising day by day because the heat dome's almost acting like the lid in a pot and it's trapping that hot air underneath it.
Relief is on the way, at least here in the UK. A cool change is expected to sweep through by the end of the week, bringing those temperatures down.
Until then, people are doing whatever they can to beat the heat. In London, John Paul Gonzo, 10 News.
Hawaii's Kilauea volcano is keeping up its amazing show. A lava fountain shooting molten rock more than 300 metres into the air for almost a whole day. Scientists estimate this fountain and several smaller ones spewed more than 6 million cubic metres of lava in just 24 hours. Kilauea is one of the world's most active volcanoes and is erupting almost constantly. And still to come, dialing into the past. What's inside a Telstra time capsule as it's opened 40 years on? And celebrating two of the world's most famous female fashion designers as the NGV summer blockbuster is revealed.
When things go wrong, like when you've been injured in a road accident, you know what to do.
Get Carbone on the phone.
Get Carbone on the phone.
Get Carbone on the phone.
We don't settle for less, neither should you.
G'day again, James Padley in the Carbone Lawyers traffic chopper, and we've popped over to Dandenong where there's been a nasty crash on Stud Road, travelling northbound before Heatherton Road. The left-hand lane is currently closed with Oswald Street also completely blocked off as a result. The emergency services are on scene, but no signs of towies as of yet, so it's going to be quite a while before these two cars get cleared away. Fortunately, it's not causing too many issues in terms of delays, with traffic mainly slowing due to people having a sticky beak. I'm James Padley in the Carbone Lawyers traffic chopper. Have a great night. I'll see you again tomorrow.
Thank you, James. Well, it's tougher than ever for first home buyers to enter the market, with house prices across most of Australia soaring in the past month. And there's no relief in sight, with experts warning this could be just the start of the boom.
In suburban Perth, work is well underway on more social housing. And it's much needed.
It isn't something that happens overnight.
As house prices Australia-wide continue to climb.
It's the 5th consecutive month of growth.
Data by Fatality has revealed housing prices in the month of June rose in all major cities except Hobart. But what's driving it?
It coincides with a reduction in interest rates from February.
And in May, which has seen interest rates fall from 4.35% down to 3.85%. Great for homeowners.
It's the equivalent of an increase of about $30,000 in the median home value.
But far from ideal for first home buyers.
Conditions are slightly challenging, so with prices having risen so significantly over the past few years.
And those conditions aren't expected to ease anytime soon, with the RBA all but expected to cut interest rates for a third time this year next week. And there's already talk of a fourth cash rate cut by the end of the year. Any relief is still months away. From January, the federal government's 5% deposit scheme will take effect, a staple in the Albanese's election campaign. But experts fear that too will push house prices up even further.
Brace for higher housing prices.
Matthew Carstunen, 10 News.
A time capsule buried 40 years ago by Telstra's predecessor Telecom has been unearthed in Adelaide. Back on July 1st, 1985, 10 children, all born on this day, were chosen to contribute to the project to help document Australia's telecommunications history. Today they reunited on their joint 40th birthdays to crack open the relic, which contained a treasure trove of photographs, newspapers and children's artwork.
You can see some lines here. I may have coloured in between the lines. My mother did for me, so anyway, it's nice to see. It's definitely not my handwriting, so I can't claim this at all.
Among the history locked away, instructions on how to open the capsule, ironically sealed inside. Two of the world's biggest fashion icons will collide in a world-first exhibition at the National Gallery of Victoria. The summer blockbuster will explore how the pair, with differing styles, followed unconventional paths to shape the future of fashion.
Worlds apart, yet bound by fashion, two designers who broke all the rules will come together in a Melbourne exclusive.
The National Gallery of Victoria has one of the oldest collections of fashion in the world. In fact, we started collecting in 1940. We've done over 50 major exhibitions in our history. We find that our audience loves seeing fashion as a design emblem.
Dame Vivienne Westwood and Ray Kawakubo will headline the summer blockbuster with more than 140 show-stopping pieces. Highlights include Westwood's original corseted wedding dress, worn by Sarah Jessica Parker in the Sex and the City movie, And Kawakubo's sculptural pedal dress, made famous by Rihanna at the 2017 Met Gala.
There are some incredible pieces that have been personally gifted by Rei Kawakubo from her own personal archive, about 40 of those.
Westwood was one of Britain's most successful fashion designers, commonly known for turning punk into a mainstream style, while Kawakubo, founder of Comme des Garçons, is famous for their avant-garde and non-binary designs.
Both designers were born within a year of each other and sort of started their career in the 70s, really took off from the 80s onwards.
The reveal follows record-breaking crowds at the Kasama exhibition last summer.
We never know what attendances are going to be like, but already the feedback for this show is that people are extremely excited, not just locally, but even globally.
The next blockbuster opens December 7. Jade Kotick, 10 News.
Well, now here's Stephen with Tuesday Sport and Tiger Tom Lynch at the mercy of the tribunal.
Yes, he is, Jen. The Richmond veteran is staring at a long suspension after his meltdown against the Crows. Also, the man who broke Magpie hearts calls it quits. The Kangaroos dropping like flies ahead of their centenary match. Carlton's captain puts his teammates on notice. A massive injury blow for the Hawks. Jordan De Goey's wretched run continues, concussed at training. Plus, from zero to hero, the hobbling old-timer who produced a piece of magic. Good.
You say you love McMuffins so much. And yet, you choose McCafe's delicious new blend first. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
Good evening. Richmond's Tom Lynch is fronting the tribunal where the AFL is pushing for a hefty suspension. Nick Butler is following the hearing. Nick, what is Lynch's defence?
Hello, Stephen. I'll tell you what, there's a bit going on here. Tom Lynch is up for the fight. Let's get into the evidence. Firstly, he's saying that the hit was a high impact, not severe. And I guess the fact that Butts played on and dominated him for the rest of the game, that almost stands up. Now, secondly, he's saying it was a swipe, not a punch, saying I was looking for some separation, just trying to push him off and then go and lead and try to take a mark on the wing. And then thirdly, now this is the doozy. Lynch is actually saying he can't physically clench a fist. He's claiming that he's got a surgically fused finger, the rude finger, if I can paint a picture. I'm not going to demonstrate it because I'll lose my job, but saying that permanently stays up and he can't clench a fist. And if you can't clench a fist, you cannot punch someone. So that has made up a fair bit of the evidence and the case to this point. The Tigers really hoping it goes from 5 down to 3. They're making a reasonable argument. He's certainly not going to get off, but he might just get it mitigated a little bit. No rude fingers though.
Well, it's worth a try. Thank you, Nick. Another setback for Collingwood star Jordan De Goey. The midfielder has been placed in concussion protocols after copping a head knock at training.
Jordan De Goey's comeback from an Achilles issue was gathering momentum until he was stopped in his tracks at training today.
Jordy got a concussion in the fundamentals, so he left the track.
The Premiership star was kicking off a full training block in an effort to return to senior action late in the season. But this setback has put a spanner in the works.
It's a bit of a sad one for Jordy. He's just starting to get there and he's obviously going to be in the protocols for 10 to 14 days, whatever it looks like.
Bobby Hill is back on track after missing last week through personal reasons, while hard man Braden Maynard is a lock to return on Friday night.
Yeah, you get to see today in training, he's just gritting the teeth, holding a few things back for Friday night. But he's an inspirational leader and the boys just love playing with him.
The Pies will be hot favourites against the struggling archenemy, but McRae is calling for a no-mercy approach.
I'll show it. Every time we play Carlton, I show a video or a version of a video of this 100-year rivalry and what it's meant to our club, and we don't shy away from it. We step right into it.
While at the Blues, Patrick Cripps is putting the acid on his teammates to stand up rather than give up.
You find out a lot about yourself, I reckon, these times, not only as a player but as a leader, but also guys around you, the ones that really want to step up.
The good vibes of the day were reserved for former Pies president Jeff Brown, who's feeling well after a serious health battle. Nick Butler, 10 News.
There's a major injury blow at Hawthorn with Josh Weddle out indefinitely. The speedster has become one of the club's most important players. He's going to miss a large chunk of football with a bone stress in his back. Weddle complained of back soreness after the game against North Melbourne and scans confirmed the worst. The Hawks are hopeful he'll be back late this season. Alistair Clarkson says he won't try and coach the beast out of George Wardlaw, despite his midfielder suffering another concussion. The tough-as-nails Kangaroo will miss the game against the Bulldogs, with a host of injuries set to cruel the club's centenary celebrations.
It's the case of Curious George and a coaching conundrum for Alistair Clarkson.
Try to take the beast out of the way that he plays, and you won't have the same George Wardlaw.
After a third concussion in the space of 12 months, some of the game's greats are urging a change of technique.
What can you change with him? He's habitual. It's the way he plays his footy, and you just hope over time he just gathers a little bit more awareness, a little bit more luck. A bit stronger in his body.
It's a dilemma the Dogs have faced with Tom Liberatore, who celebrates game 250 for the opposition. And although he has changed how he goes about it, the veteran is on the verge of a new deal, having lost none of his competitive edge.
It doesn't surprise me. I mean, it's in his DNA. You know, that's who he is, and it's how Tony played.
Wardlaw's absence won't help the Roos, though, with Jack Darling also out and Harry Sheasel and Luke Parker in serious doubt for what will be a significant occasion. And amid a controversial build-up to the centenary celebrations, this feels a pointed message from the coach.
All of us at different stages are just temporary custodians. No one's more important than the other, except the one enduring thing is the club itself.
Meanwhile, despite being at the centre of the SCG turf drama against the Swans, the Doggies have downplayed it.
We're just not in the business of complaining too much about things that both teams had to contend with.
The AFL sending a delegation to Sydney to sort it out, but rain forced today's inspection to be postponed until Friday.
Hope they got their umbrellas.
Keyte Price, 10 News.
West Coast Premiership hero Dom Sheed is hanging up the boots. The 30-year-old has endured a horror injury run over the past 4 years, and a pre-season ACL finished him off. Sheed best remembered for sealing the Eagles' 2018 flag at the expense of the Magpies.
Right place, right time, and then to be able to execute and impact, you know, on the biggest day in footy is something I think about every 5 minutes.
Jeremy McGovern started that scoring chain. Sheed finished it, the pair retiring within a fortnight of each other. Carlos Alcaraz won a 5-set battle on the hottest day ever at Wimbledon. 7 Australians were wiped out in the opening round. Jordan Thompson, the lone survivor, though he may not play his next match because of back pain.
His serves are restricted, and Jordan Thompson took painkillers to line up against Victor Koprova. Plenty of reasons to throw in the towel as he went 2 sets down, but it's not in his makeup.
Shaping it.
Fighting back to win in 5, it was a gutsy display. Thompson can't practice and is only hopeful of being able to play against Benjamin Bonzi.
The Iron Man of Australian tennis.
Alexei Popyrin was seeded 20, but it was a short visit to the All England club, beaten in 4 sets by world number 461 Arthur Ferry. A horror day for Australia as Aya Tomjanovic's hopes disappeared into the sunset, and Anastasia Pavlyuchenkova winning in 3 sets. Carlos Alcaraz had his own problems dealing with 38-year-old Italian Fabio Fognini. Not all eyes on the tennis. Celebrity Central on centre court. The heat getting to an elderly patron. Alcaraz ran over to offer water.
You know, we're playing in an outdoor tournament, so I think that the roof shouldn't be closed because of it.
Carlos taking more than 4.5 hours to put the match to bed. Stefanos Tsitsipas withdrew with a back injury. The ongoing problem has the 26-year-old contemplating retirement.
Myself as a person, I have a limit at some point. There's no point at competing. I mean, if I'm not healthy.
Bence Hammerley for 10 News.
Matilda's striker Remy Siemsen has been out of favourite selection over the past 2 years, but after starting and setting up a goal on Sunday, she may well earn a regular spot in the team under Joe Montemuro.
It's action-reaction. It's how, if you make a mistake, it's how you react to it. So I'm thoroughly enjoying this camp. I'm really enjoying the training sessions. Every training session, every game is so competitive.
Siemsen and her teammates will head 2 hours south of Perth to take on Panama in Bunbury on Saturday. 1 minute you're an injured 39-year-old, broken and battered, being consoled by your teammates. You think you can't go on, but then our hobbling hero has delivered a cross and delivers the magic. Former Premier League star Hugo Rodallega sealing the title, winning goal for his Colombian side Santa Fe. Forever the man who went from zero to hero. Forget flying saucers and cars. Look closely, because tonight we bring you none other than skydiving dinosaurs. Watch these T-Rexes take a prehistoric plunge, then scamper to the finish line.
The race is on. Here they come to the finish. What an effort.
Those on terra firma bolting out of the gates in their World Championship race, navigating unruly outfits, missteps and last gasp collisions. There can only be one winner, but we'll generously give them all our play of the day. Jen, sometimes people just have too much time on their hands.
Where do you find this?
Don't ask.
He's back with a roar. Thank you, Stephen. Now here's Jade with the weather.
Thanks, Jen. It's 12 degrees outside, but it only feels like 9. I'll have your 7-day forecast coming up after the break.
Booking.com has all kinds of stays.
Ooh la la!
Because a romantic hotel works for some.
Is that a mirror?
But not for others. Find exactly what you're booking for. Booking.com, booking.yeah.
You can't get past these super sniffers.
The dogs have reacted to the luggage of a couple of travellers.
Sir, put your bag down on the floor and wait, please. Just wait, please. Just, excuse me.
Thames Airport, Thursday.
Watch and stream free.
Just ahead, the bureaucrats delivering AUKUS submarines who seem more focused on flying the huge taxpayer-funded business class bill.
Plus advice for parents after a childcare worker was charged with sickening crimes.
Welcome back. Southern California is suffering under its own heat wave that's also fueling wildfires across large areas of the state. The fast-growing blazes have scorched more than 200 hectares of land, triggering evacuation orders for thousands of people. Several buildings have already been consumed, and water bombers are flying from dawn until dusk trying to contain the blazes. Well, now to weather conditions closer to home, and Jade, more rain is on the way.
Jen, tomorrow will be the wettest day of the week for Melbourne, with anywhere up to 10 millimetres forecast for the city and potential for up to 20 millimetres across Mount Dandenong and the Yarra Valley. So make sure you have the rain jacket handy. As for today, we hit a high of 14 degrees. It's currently 12 degrees outside, but it only feels like 9. Across Melbourne's outer suburbs, the heaviest falls arrived overnight, mostly between 4 and 9 a.m, clearing off mostly during the day. We saw anywhere between anywhere up to 9 millimetres fall across the city, and our top temperatures range from 13 to 15. Again, here are our weather watcher photos. Some of those focused on the rain, most of it clearing off again. After the morning commute, we've seen about half a millimetre fall at Tullamarine, Scoresby and Frankston today. Parts of South Gippsland picked up 30 millimetres of rain overnight. Scattered showers continued across the Surf Coast and Gippsland. The heaviest falls were seen in the far east, thanks to not one but 2 offshore lows. Daytime temperatures peaked in the low to mid-teens. Around the rest of the country, it was a windy day in Brisbane. Sydney was underwater with about 50 millimetres of rain since midnight. It was a damp day in Canberra. Hobart was dry, topping 10 degrees. Tonight, thick cloud is spinning around not one but 2 lows off the New South Wales coast. That is bringing widespread rain and large surf to the state. Low cloud is spreading down to Victoria in a developing trough. On the synoptic chart tomorrow, those 2 coastal lows will continue to direct heavy falls towards the east coast as they dumbbell around each other. Yes, that is a weather term. And that will include eastern Victoria tomorrow, where we do have a flood watch in place for Gippsland. The Bem, the Can and the Genoa rivers are part of that catch warning. As a result, tomorrow Sydney can expect another soaking up to 25 millimetres. Hobart, a shower or 2 and a top of 12 degrees. Adelaide, partly cloudy skies under a high. Dry season is underway for Darwin. Back home, we can
expect a dry and partly cloudy day for Western Victoria. Cloudy with scattered showers in central and eastern Victoria. Snow falling above 1,200 metres. Heavy falls are possible over East Gippsland, anywhere between 30 to 90 millimetres for Malakuta. Closer to the city, it will be a wet day ahead, so have the umbrella handy. Most areas will see anywhere between 2 to 10 millimetres, up to 20 for the Dandenongs. Winds on Port Phillip will be southerly, up to 10 knots, wave heights below a metre. In the city, we are down to 8 degrees tonight. Grey skies in the morning, rain arriving late morning, up to 10 millimetres, a top of 14. Overcast conditions will continue Thursday, a shower or two, 15 degrees. Friday, mostly sunny, also 15. Now, the weekend will begin dry and mild. Saturday, 16 degrees before the next set of showers arrives on Sunday. So, Jen, be prepared for that rain tomorrow. I'm going to get out of this cold before I continue to cry again.
Sounds like a good idea. Well done, Jade. And that's 10 News Melbourne for this Tuesday, the 1st of July. Stay with us for 10 News Plus. That's coming up next. Good night.